So, we're here at Avebury with the lovely Marie Wheatley.
Yeah, we're at Avebury wearing what's called the Southern Inner Circle, which William Stukeley in 1724 called the Temple of the Sun. So this is the Temple of the Sun. We're going to go later to the Temple of the Moon, but we're going to walk to the West Kennet Stone Avenue because that's the way that you would have entered the monument back in the 4,500 years ago in effect. So the avenue is about 1.5 miles long that leads from the sanctuary, a concentric stone circle on over to Overton Hill, and you'd have walked 1.5 miles all the way into this ancient site. But I'm going to show you how you'd have walked in on the earth energies and the different types of earth energies that are associated with this beautiful monument.
Yeah, I was just saying, well, they've replaced some of the stones with them.
Yeah, these are what's called a marker stone, and Alexander Keeler put them here in the 1930s to represent the location of a former stone. But when Keeler came here in the 1930s, all of these stones here, apart from the far one, were Recumbrant. He re-erected them all and set them in concrete. Now if we come over to this stone here,
So they might not be in the right places then.
no, they're in the right place because they don't go into the earth, they go into
Right.
chalk sockets. And this is one that Keeler literally stuck together. He found all of these tiny bits of stone and stuck them together. And this is an iron bar that's holding the stone in. So some people lift a compass up here and say they get a magnetic anomaly. It isn't a magnetic anomaly, it's because of the iron that's inside some of the stones. So Keeler literally found bits and pieces and concreted this back together, put it back into its socket hole, and it stood, because there was only 3 stones standing when Keeler came here in the 1930s. So we really need to thank him in a way, because he restored this monument.
Yeah. At least we can come in as well. We're not locked out.
No, we're not locked out.
What's your favourite place here? Silbury Hill or here? Oh, you douse here, don't you?
Well, I really like Avebury because it's the world's largest stone circle. If we look over here, you can see the outer great stone circle. That once had 100 standing stones going on the inside of the Henge Bank. That's the bank there, which originally gleamed chalk white. So imagine a beautiful white circle going all the way around, containing 100 standing stones on the inside. So it's the world's largest stone circle.
It's amazing, really. But these stones make it look like, you know, they were far more advanced than we were, but it makes it look like they weren't, almost, with just big stones.
Well, each of the stones, I mean, when we look at these 2 very large stones up here, these are called the Southern Portal stones. They're the great gateway into the Temple of the Sun, the Southern Inner Circle. And these weigh about 70 to 80 tons each.
Wow.
So you're talking about hauling a lot of stone around. And these have always been in the correct position. It's called in situ because they were too hard to topple and break up for building material, which happened in the 1720s when they would just topple the stones, pour on cold water in a burning pit, and then they would crack easily and be transported for building material.
So they were bigger than this then?
No, these are in situ. This is the size of them. That's the size of the stones there. They haven't been, even the ones that have been stuck back together, so to speak, are the original height. But this stone here on the other side is called the Devil's Chair. And my co-author of my first book did a lot of photography for me, Busty Taylor. He and I realised that this chair here, this little girl, it's called the Devil's Chair, and it's at a particular angle. Notice it's at that angle, and that other stone is at that angle. So you've got that going on in effect. Well, I researched that this henge bank here, if you set it back by 40 feet, which is its original
over there.
So that bank there was extended in the 1800s.
What's that one?
To make way for a toll road.
Right.
So they extended it like this, taken back to its original position. If you were sat in the devil's chair at the time of the winter solstice, you'd see the winter solstice sunrise and the winter solstice sunset there. So this is literally the Druid's chair, not the devil's chair at all. And so people...
Well, they always have to say things wrong, don't they?
Well, it's the Christians. They're just very fearful.
So you're a pagan then?
I'm a pagan. I'm a Druid, and so for me, this was a discovery that went by unnoticed for 4,500 years until my book came out. So it was rediscovering the astronomical alignments at Avebury, and I'll show you another lunar alignment that I discovered at Avebury that only happens once every 18.61 years.
What's your book called?
My book on Avebury is called Avebury, Sun, Moon and Earth Energies, and it's really a guide to the alternative side of Avebury and the long-lost astronomical alignments that I discovered. So it's a kind of combination of Earth energies, celestial energies, and how they can influence us and how we can work with those energies.
Yeah, you like that. Did you bring some rods with you? Is that to show us?
I'm going to show you some dowsing over the West Kennet Stone Avenue.
Oh, I usually go up that way, so we're going this way.
So we're going to go to the original entrance, how you would have originally walked into Avebury Henge. So this would have been a big gap, no bank there.
It was all ritual here then?
It's probably a combination of things. I don't think it's all one thing going at any one time. So there would have been rituals here. There was no feasting or celebration because there was no debris found. So that happened at Windmill Hill. So this was a very sacred site, a very sacred place, which, as we'll see when we enter the Temple of the Sun, becomes active at 8 times of the year. So it was used at what's called the 8 festival dates in all probability, as well as other times. Now, one thing that I do think happens here...
You think this is an electrical arcing, like I told you?
Well, what I do know about this isn't the original depth. This is an erosion infill. It goes down twice as deep, and it probably hit the fluctuating water table. So every sort of spring, when the water table fills up with water through the rain, you would have had like a moat effect here. So that probably contained water, like a moat.
Which water's electric anyway?
Yeah, they're great conductors. So's chalk. Chalk is a great conductor of an electrical current. It generates its own electrical current through tolerant currents in the ground.
Do you think an electrical arcing did it?
Well, what I think...
Because it would have been a big one, but then it's energy here.
What I think is that there's a combination of energy from the sun that activates tolerant currents, that generates a DC current in the earth naturally, and then you have all of the earth energies and ley lines and things like that. They all combined to generate an electrical force, an electromagnetic energy field that I think the ancients could harness.
So why do you think the military aren't here where they're at Stonehenge?
Because this is much wider, it contains a village.
Yeah, they couldn't really get away with it with the village there.
No, and also it's a through road here, and at Stonehenge they took away the through road. They took away the Devizes Road so that they control it even more. They can't do that here. You cannot take that road away because it goes to Swindon and Devizes, but they did at Stonehenge. They want that monument so much.
Yeah, unfortunately. But I think this one's just as important, if not more important, when you think the oldest pyramid's just up the road. And I don't know, I just think you always have a good feeling here, don't you?
Avebury is very gentle. You could have a lot of people, hundreds and hundreds of people at Avebury. To fit comfortably into Stonehenge, only about 90 people.
Never been that close to it, but yeah.
Of the Stone Circle at Stonehenge is about 108 feet. At Avebury, it's 1,088 feet. That's 10 times bigger than Stonehenge.
Wow. 1 second. This is me and Maria.
Hi. Hi everyone.
You're on the camera anyway, but I just wanted people to see I was here. Maria is a dowser.
Well, yeah, this is the West Kennet Stone Avenue. It meanders for
There's lots of stones out there, but a lot of them are just the little ones, aren't they? The marker stones.
Over the far horizon there, they are all re-erected by Alexander Keeler. But the avenue, according to Hamish Miller, who wrote The Sun and the Serpent way back in the 80s, and I doused with Hamish Miller a few times, many times really. He says the reason why it is meandering and the width of the avenue is set by the Michael Earth current. Now if you imagine...
Ley lines?
No, not a ley line. This is what he meant. You have a ley line called the St. Michael line, okay, like this dowsing rod, we're going to say that is the ley line. There's two currents that entwine a ley. One is called Michael and it weaves around like the caduceus symbol. And then you have a female current called Mary. So the ley has two energies entwining it. And it's this energy, this earth energy, that's meandering down here. And the Michael current, its width, is depicted by the two stones. So imagine now a river of white light going all around. That's the Michael Earth current, which shouldn't be confused with the St. Michael ley line.
You mean we can't see it the same now because it's not connected as a whole thing now? But when it was all here, then this is what would have happened.
Well, it's still here now.
No, bits of it have gone though, aren't they?
Well, you've got the road, that's called an amputation to a Chinese geomant, a feng shui master. So yeah, it's a broken system, but nonetheless, this is a solar energy, a masculine force of the earth that can give us energy.
So how did they know all this then?
Well, it was documented in 2000 BC by an emperor of China. They just called them the tiger and the dragon, but they're male and female. Now here is a very special stone. Not only does it mark the width of the Michael current, the stone would have been over a ways, there's a vortex here. Now we measured this, and coming out of the ground, out of this vortex, is a whole load of negative air ions, which are actually good for you.
Yeah, negative ions are good for you.
So imagine now,
there's
all these...
Oh, give them to me.
Yeah, you need them, Karen.
Give them to me. I definitely need them right now.
And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to approach the vortex with a Chinese geomant rod. This was made for me by the Chan family. And when it hits the vortex, it will literally start spinning round and round and round. I'm trying to hold it as still as I can. And this is vortex energy. So it's speeding up now. So this is the vortex energy coming out of the ground. Now, what I think was going on at Avebury is, this is the preparation stone. You would have walked down on the Michael Earth current, cleansed your aura in the energy field here, and then the partner was on the other side of the road here, and you have another natural ledge here where the ions are coming into my body, the Michael current is coming into my body, and I relax before I enter the sanctity of the stone circles. So this is like a vortex cleansing stone, and its partner is on the other side there, its socket hole there. So you'd have...
Oh, just here you mean?
Yeah, there's just the tourists that walk that way. The real entrance there was over there on that road.
Oh, right.
So it's a lovely energy.
I just want some of those ions. Ah, yes, I feel so much better now. Yeah, amazing. So that doesn't happen on all the stones then, it goes around?
No, that's vortex energy. It happens at West...
You show us again?
Yeah, sure. You can have a go yourself in a minute. So I'm going to approach sometimes it will go clockwise and sometimes it will change anti-clockwise. So we'll see which way it goes. So I'm in the energy field, and this is the dowsing rod's reaction to a vortex type of energy, which is coming out of the ground. So that's... Do you want to go?
No, I'll just let you do it. You're the expert. But when I saw you originally, you were doing it because there was actually different layers in the stones.
Oh yeah, I can do that here for you, but we're just going to change rods because this is a vortex rod, and I'm going to go now to my copper rod, which should be in here.
Most people have lipstick and stuff like that, but Maria has dowsers in her bag.
Definitely.
Excuse me while I get my dowser out.
Yeah, this is a copper rod. They're on sale at my website, the aveburyexperience.co.uk. Now, if we imagine that this beautiful stone here, which is in situ, it's never been re-erected and set in concrete, has energy bands. 2 are underground, and then you have 5 above. That
5?
Equates, 5 above ground, 2 below, which equate to the chakra system. Now I'm going to douse them now, and they're great fun for people to do. You just lift your dowsing rod up, and when it hits an energy band, that's that one. We're going to lift it at the face of the stone, and there's that one. We're going to lift it at the face of the stone again, and that's an energy band there. And then there would be some more above, and they fluctuate with lunar energies as well, so they can become more intense around about 6 days after a new or full moon.
Do you think they knew what they were doing with those bands?
Definitely, because this energy band here that I doused connects to the next stone over there, or the other stones here, and it's called crosstalk. Now, the band right up here, that connects to the next stone circle. So it's like a Wi-Fi system of energy lines connecting all of the stones together in a huge electromagnetic matrix. Rodney Hale measured these bands for me using sensitive electromagnetic sensing equipment, and he got around about 18 hertz, I think. So it's an energy field.
Is that a bit like, it's different, but you know, like the trees are electric. You can get electricity from trees.
The entrances to disguise pagan monuments.
Don't you just love those roots? They can't put their roots in deep because of the chalk.
Because of the chalk bedrock.
Yeah. But they managed to dig all that out. That's why I think they're electrical arkings. I know what it looks like, but yeah. But that might be what... Basically, I just asked Maria who built these. She said the elongated-headed people.
The elongated skull people built the first features here at Avebury. It's called Phase 1. So the large stones, the really big stones called the cove stones we're going to go to see, and the obelisk stone, they were the heaviest. That's the elongated skulled monument. And then 500 years later, the Bronze Age rounder skull people built the stone circles surrounding the older features. About 500 years, 600
I sort of said before, but that makes us the aliens.
Well, it makes two different identities and 2 different cultures, 2 different backgrounds.
So we were living here with them.
That we were contemporary with them because the beaker...
Why have they hidden them?
Well, that's the $1 million question. I mean, I've unearthed quite a few now for my forthcoming...
I mean, I do realise it's very alien-like with these elongated heads, so they are different to us. But, like, why hide it? Why not just tell us the truth? They've known for a long time, and then people like you and Brian are finding them.
Yep, well...
They are a bit different, aren't they, the ones here to the ones in South America?
Oh, yeah, the Paraclis coneheads, as they're often referred to, had red hair, as Brian points out, and they were very pointy. Here, the elongated people have their skulls coming this way, but where you have your skull 1/8 of your body, meaning you can fit your head into your body 8 times, of the average person, theirs was 1/10. So even though they had elongated skulls, their faces were very narrow, like this, and they
so a
were
bit
small.
Alien-like then, in other words?
Very different. That you would have done literally a double take. So they had smaller heads but elongated skulls to their body size.
So they're taller?
No, they were very short. The femur bones found, they were not giants. That's a misnomer by a few authors. The femur bone here, once you have a femur bone, you can do the estimated height. Please do it, anthropologists do that. And it's a formula. And the femur bone said that the women were only 4 feet 9, 4 feet 8.
Wow.
And the men were 5 feet, and the tallest was 5 feet.
Don't you think that fits into almost like what they were showing us about aliens with the elongated head, little green people?
They were small. They were very small. They were not giants.
They just don't tell us the whole truth. They just tell you a bit of it.
And the Bronze Age people, the beaker culture, they were big. They were 6 feet something tall, much broader, And so the ancient British people that had these elongated skulls, they had robust bodies but were very short and stocky, but they moved the heaviest stones.
Right, is that like those houses in Caen with the little doors?
In Caen?
Caen, there's a row of houses. The doors only, they finish about this high. They're small doors, but there's a whole row of houses with them.
Okay.
It's like, well, who lived in them? They had to be small people.
Yeah, in the medieval period was diet.
Well, unless some of it's under the ground or something.
Well, you didn't have to, so the poor people didn't have to diet, and that's fine. But the elongated skull people that built...
We don't come from them then? Because they're subhuman, aren't they? Brad said they're subhuman.
Well, I think they're a different species. I don't think they're subhuman. They're a different species. Because sub is saying that they're not as good. They're not as equal. They were the ones that built in all the astronomical alignments here at Avebury. They were master astronomers, master geomancers, because they knew where the Earth energies were, and so they were very, very highly educated people.
So is this like they've got a book and they talk about Homo sapiens, so they were the ones before, and they told us that their brains boiled or something. They weren't. They were obviously the elongated-headed people.
They've just been written out of history. That's the problem. Apart from myself and the British Isles, I'm the only person that's been researching them, and Brian is a world authority on the elongated skulls of Maracas. So it's getting the hidden history and exposing it to people. So they were written out of history. They don't have a place in the so-called evolution of humanity. They're just not talked about, hidden.
Right, with the trees and things like that.
Well, no, I mean
the history's been hidden. And then the Victorians tried to hide them anyway.
That's what the Victorians did. They planted the trees.
Look at that, though.
At the entrances to disguise them.
All roots on the top.
They're beautiful.
I know, I took pictures of them one of the other times I was here, but they do look beautiful.
Oh, they are. They're wonderful.
It's amazing that they've grown so tall with a lot of their roots outside.
Yeah, they don't live to be that old here. About 250 years, then they fall down.
Yeah, right, let's turn this off for a second.
Right, we're at the centre, or the near centre of the southern inner circle, Temple of the Sun. Originally there would have been 30 large Sarsen stones creating a circle, and this was a magnificent stone here. Today it's a stone by Alexander Keeler, in the 1930s, but originally it was 21 feet high by 9 feet broad. It was massive.
Was it bigger than that one over there?
Well, not as wide, because it was 9 feet wide, but still it was a very phallic, dominant, like...
Yeah, Maria's brought me around here to show me, what is it, the guardian of...
It's one of the guardian stones, and if you can see, it's got a face profile with the lips, with the eye and the nose. It's something I discovered, which is what the stones of Stonehenge would look like if we get closer.
It could be a hunchback, you know, with arms.
Here, this is polished sarsen, it's smooth as anything, and I suggest the whole of the face was once polished sarsen. You can make out bits of polished sarsen.
Oh yeah, like it was a casing on the outside that's gone.
Yeah, it's highly polished sarsen stone. So this face would have been polished. You can see bits everywhere on it if you look carefully.
Can I say something? When you stand back here though, I mean, I know it's a bit ridiculous, but it kind of looks like a hunchback.
Yeah, there's this side here is where it is. It's looking towards the entrance of...
Look at that.
Here. So it's looking at who comes into this stone circle. This is Temple of...
So that was a face then, really?
It was a face, a guardian face, because it's looking at the people that enter the stone circle in this sector. And this is Temple of the Moon.
It doesn't look so pretty from here though.
Well, no, you have to stand at a particular angle to see it. And it's also, you've got all that lichen growing over it now, which is a good thing.
There, look, you can see. Look at that. Wow.
So this is the part of the stone circle which is called Temple of the Moon. It got really ransacked in the 1720s for building materials.
Yeah, like houses over there.
You can see it everywhere.
Houses that's been put in the houses. And this one?
This one
'Cause
is
it's in the
partly
ground.
buried in the 1300s. What the villagers did, they built kind of graves for the stones and buried them and hid them.
How did they do that?
They carefully toppled them and buried them. Now, if they hadn't have buried the stones in that sector, you wouldn't see them today, because Alexander Keeler got a sounding bar.
Oh, you mean because they were under the ground?
They were
and
under the ground, and he raised them. They hadn't seen the light of day.
So they
for
tried to hide
500
it all?
years. In the 1300s, they tried to hide it. In the 1700s, they smashed them up. That's the...
Yeah, made the houses. Wow.
And the barn, and lots of other...
Yeah, like that barn there. Look at that wall. Wow. Up to Silbury Hill. I love Silbury Hill. I love it here.
I know, it's a fantastic monument. It covers 5 acres of ground, and it's called Silbury Hill because it was King Sil was believed to be on the inside in the golden chariot. But of course there was nothing inside of this mound, which was excavated in the 1960s by Professor Richard Atkinson. And they found nothing on the inside. But what we do know about it is originally it was chalk white, as John Cowie says in his book about Silbury Dawning, that it was a 7-step chalk pyramid, and then it was
So a bit like the one at Marlborough.
Yeah, that's been kind of man-made more, that one, but it had a much kind of rounder top as well, and the moat of the water would have come right up to here, and so that causeway over there is how you would have entered it.
Yeah.
So that would have been filled very deep with water, and then the reflection of the white mound or the white pyramid would have gone right to the end. So that's called a causeway.
Yeah, you told me that was a quarry up there.
That's the quarry from where they got the chalk from, and so you can see it as a big rectangle on Waden Hill over there. But it's got a fantastic drainage system on the western side, so the water is being filtered out of the chalk, so it will never erode. So that shows advanced engineering skill by itself that was happening at Silbury Hill. And what we do know about the monument as well, and it was discovered by the author Michael Dames, is that it relates to the moon at Lammas. So on August the 1st, the moon will move around Silbury Hill, and you can...
You know, you said that there was other pyramids. It just got to me. That wasn't a pyramid. I know what it looks like on the pictures, but that wasn't a pyramid.
No, that's a causeway.
Right. There's one like going in, and it's like electricity to me. One's this side and one's the other side.
Because this was surrounded by a very deep moat, you would have to walk to Silbury on that causeway there. That's why it's there.
Right.
Because this would have been deep water.
Yeah.
There's 81 springs that feed Silbury Hill alone. And when the fluctuating water table comes up in the winter, all of the springs around here fill up and it will become a moat. That's why all the villages around here are called Winterbourne Basset, Winterbourne Monkton. It's because the fluctuating water table makes everything alive in the winter.
Right.
So we've got 81 springs around here. You've got very deep chalk bedrock, and it would have been spectacular being on top of Silbury. Now the acoustic effects alone of Silbury are quite interesting, because if you're at the top of Silbury
Yeah, that's what I saw. I saw that about it. It's how they sound travelled.
Yeah, and you're at the bottom, you can hear. So it's got acoustic effects as well.
And where, like out here, was the other pyramids that are not here anymore?
The other one would have been Marlborough's Merlin's Mound in Marlborough. That's the sister to Silbury. And then the third mound was called the Hatfield Barrow at Mardenhenge. And Mardenhenge is right in the middle between Stonehenge and Avebury. It was a superhenge, much bigger than Avebury, but hardly anything exists of it today.
Yeah.
So and same as Dorrington Walls. Dorrington Walls is a superhenge. It was much bigger than Avebury Henge. So we've got loads of different ceremonial sites, and Marden...
And they linked up, obviously, somehow.
Yeah, there was a huge lay that links up Silbury Hill to Marden and Stonehenge.
And it's in sun, it's got the sun on it.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. I mean, when the sun is on Silbury, but now imagine it being chalk white. and the reflection of the sun against that would have been absolutely beautiful.
It is sinking though, isn't it, slowly?
And of course, John Cowie.
John Cowie had been into Silbury Hill and he'd written a book, but unfortunately he died last year of a stroke, well, complications from a stroke. But anyway, this we're looking at here is Merlin's Mound, which is in Marlborough, about 10 miles away from Silbury Hill. Anyway, I've left Maria now. We had a really great day and a few readings, and yeah, it was a really good day. I really enjoyed it. How much better to spend it with someone who knows so much about the stones, or her take on the stones, and she's a dowser and a friend now, a good friend. Anyway, I really enjoyed that day. Thank you very much for watching.